And what's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy, man, Jake, really silly, man, aka Mr. Take It Easy, for you end up like Beezy. But make sure y'all follow my Twitch, man. Subscribe to my second channel. Everything you need to know about your boy Jay is in the description down below. If y'all do want to join the Madden 27 Discord, it is in the description down below. Like I said, y'all, this will probably be the last Madden 27 Madden franchise, excuse me, that I ever do. So y'all want to, tune in for this one. Know what I mean? So like I said, y'all, Discord link is in the description down below. But we got 3 scary, true summer backyard horror stories. For all my new subscribers and new viewers, if y'all do want to check out all of my scary reactions, it is in the playlist section. Over yonder. You want to bust my balls or bust my balls? Holy crap. Bro, and I'm not going to lie to y'all, bro. My backyard do creep me out. Like, can I get a raise of hands right now? You know what I mean? About people who is, I don't know, it's just my backyard just kind of leaves me a little unsettled. You feel me? When it comes to dark time. I just always think when I just open up them blinds, somebody gonna be in my backyard just waving at me like this. I don't know, y'all. I can't stand, you know what I'm saying, looking in my backyard at dark time. I just can't stand it, bro. You feel me? It's just like, I don't know, man. I just be thinking that somebody gonna be just staring at me, waiting for me to look outside.
It was the summer of 2011. I was 13 years old.
Ooh.
Life was good.
Ooh.
Social media hadn't taken over the world yet, and kids still knew how to be kids.
Oh my God, thank you. You're what you is, an O2 baby? Oh my God. Like I said, y'all, I hate my phone. You know what I'm saying? I really think I am an old man in a 23-year-old body. I cannot stand my phone. I can't stand phones, bro. Me just seeing people, like when I be walking out, I'm sorry, y'all. I see the world different. When I walk outside and I see people heads in their phones, even when I look, but like I said, do what you want. Do what you want to do. You're a grown woman and grown man. You're gonna do what you want to do regardless. But it's like, dang, you on your phone in the house. Then when you go outside, you on your phone too. It's like you in the Matrix inside the crib, and you outside. You still in the Matrix. These motherfuckers cannot even have a conversation with somebody. You can't even enjoy God's universe. Can you just look around, look at trees? Can you, can you just enjoy some music in the car? You know what I'm saying? You just like, even when you driving, that's why you be trying to be getting in car accidents. That's why I steady be having to watch out for y'all. Because all you be doing is this. Even when you driving, motherfucker, you looking at your phone. Like, you just can't take minutes away from your phone, gang. I don't know, man. That junk pisses me off. Folks just be in real life, man. For me, I'm never on my phone outside. I'm rarely on my phone inside. Word up. My kids gonna be different from y'all kids. My kid not getting the phone to you in 10th grade. 10th grade. You're gonna spend the whole year in high school not having a phone. I'm doing you a favor. Don't bust my balls.
It was July, my birthday month. My birthday had just passed a few days earlier. I vividly remember that because when I had a
Sweet tooth
over, we ate some of the leftover ice cream cake in the yard.
Sweet tooth.
My family wasn't home. It was a sunny day.
I gotta calm this down.
I was allowed to have my friends Kyle and Zook over. We used to call him Zook, which was a shortened nickname for his last name. When home alone, I was supposed to not leave the property, but I could have my friends over as long as we hung out in the house or the backyard. We grew up in a basic Westchester, New York suburban neighborhood. Zook and Kyle both rode their bikes to my house. It was so nice out that instead of playing video games inside or anything like that, we played sports in the backyard.
That's what we used to do. Throw them up, bust them. I'm telling y'all, bro. The way that what he just said seems foreign to a lot of these kids nowadays. What? You go outside to play rather than play video games? Yes, we actually did that. We rather go outside than play video games. That's how we was when we was kids. We had an Xbox 360. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said, like, we had Xbox 360. You feel me? But we just rather go outside. We were still old school as well. I'm not trying to talk like I'm an old head, but like I said, that's the beauty of my generation. My generation got the old school and we got the start of the new school. We seen both sides, baby. Play, throw them up, bust them up, jumping on trampolines for hours, riding bicycles to the other neighbor. We did all that, bro.
Our family home in Westchester that my parents still live in to this day has a super big backyard. It was perfect for games like baseball and soccer. Sometimes we'd roughhouse and wrestle in the backyard. And when we had an odd number of people, we would have the others referee. Today, we were play wrestling. We were mimicking the WWE, taking on roles of actual wrestlers at the time. And we would do this corny thing where whichever wrestler we were pretending to be, we'd use their specific moves and fighting styles.
It's not corny, bro.
So the backyard is a unique shape. It has an awning right by the back door with a bunch of patio furniture underneath. Then there's 2 steps down to the grass area that starts narrow but opens up wider the further into the yard you go. Westchester is pretty known for having houses like this. While we were playing, I looked up at one of the upstairs bedroom windows, and despite the glare on the glass from the sun, I saw someone standing at the window of my parents' bedroom looking out to the yard. Remember, I said my family wasn't meant to be home. When I yelled time out and pointed up at the window, they walked away. My friends didn't see it in time. I told them someone's upstairs, and I hurried towards the back door, telling my friends I'm just checking who's home. I went inside and called out my older sister's name and then my mom and dad. From downstairs, no one answered. So I went to the stairway that led from the den to the main floor, and I called up again. No answer. I heard creaking from all the way upstairs though, so I knew someone was home. But I also knew no one was supposed to be. So I went to the landline phone in the den office and called my mom. No response. I then called my dad. No response. I tried both phones again, and that failed again. I didn't even know my sister's cell phone, which I know was weird, but I never really had a reason to call her at that age. I didn't really know why no one was picking up. Maybe it was because my parents got home and set their phones down somewhere. So I went upstairs to the main floor of the house by the front door. I went to look out the front window, and sure enough, neither of my parents' cars were in the driveway. The last person that could be in the house was my sister, which
I can't sleep comfortably. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that I seen somebody upstairs. I told you I'm not one of those people that be like, man, I'm just seeing things. It probably was a shadow. Nah, I mean, it was nothing. Probably was a shadow. I know what I seen. I'm the type of person, I go with my gut. Like I said it before and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it one more time. I'd rather trip and be alive than not trip and be dead. If I'm tripping, I'm going to be tripping then. But at least I'm tripping alive. If I ain't tripping, it's just a shadow, man. I was just seeing things and they end up being dead. That's worse. That's way worse. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. But it's impossible. I'm going to keep it. I mean, I'm going to say this first and foremost, and this is just true. It's impossible for you to just break in my house and me not knowing. You know what I mean? First, because I have an alarm system. I set that off every time I leave the crib. And like I said, I feel like everybody should have an alarm system. If you're watching this, you got your own, like whatever your mom, your dad, you got your own crib, whatever. Get an alarm system. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how the freak y'all stay in y'all crib without an alarm system. You know how good I still check around my house because that's just who I am. Don't bust my balls. That's just who I am. You know what I'm saying? I check around the house even when I got an alarm. But it's a very good feeling knowing that nobody in my house, but I still got to check though. You know what I mean? Because somebody could be, somebody couldn't. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I still got to check. You feel me? What if somebody kidnapped my mom and made her put in the alarm? I think weird, y'all. I think very, very 10 steps ahead. So that's why I still check the freaking, you know what I'm saying? But it's a sense of relief walking into the crib, hearing that alarm go off. Because you know why? Even though I'm still check around, I know that most likely nobody in this house. Because if somebody was in this house, my alarm be off. You know what I'm saying? My alarm wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? It was just when I open up the door, front door. You know what I mean? So if it do that, if I know I armed the alarm, you know what I'm saying? And I come back to this front door, somebody in this motherfucker, I'm finna gun down. Right when that motherfucker, dun, 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 a sense of relief come over me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Why she would
that alarm is so important, bro. And I set things up in a certain way. I'm the type of person, I set things up in a certain way just to see if it's going to be moved. I'm one of them people too, 10 steps ahead. So I'll place something a certain way just to see if it moves. And if it moves, I know somebody in this motherfucker. I'm always tense. I'm always thinking. Even when I'm right here, right now, I got Nina right beside me. I don't think I'm safe just because I'm doing a reaction video. What if somebody try to come in right now? Bust your brains wide open. No threat. It's just a promise. Don't bust my balls. You know what I'm saying? Just a promise. You know what I mean? I'm even on go right now. You feel me? You don't know it? Right there every single day. That thing right there, right with me right now. I ain't safe in the crib. Somebody, you know what I'm saying, got these headphones on and everything, you feel me?
My parents.
Bang, bang, shoot a bang, bang.
I called up my sister's name to the upstairs floor of the house. I heard footsteps once again, this time more clearly. They came from right upstairs, just around the wall. I believe it was at this moment that I said my sister's name one more time. I looked up the stairs, and I saw something at the top. There was a bare foot protruding out from behind the wall ever so slightly, pointing towards the stairs. It looked like a man's foot. Whoever it was hiding upstairs just around the corner. It wasn't anyone in my family. I walked down the stairs back to the den without making it obvious I was running.
Lock him in.
I then ran full speed for the office phone. Then I ran outside to my friends. I told them about the intruder in the house while frantically calling my mom and dad's numbers over and over. Finally, my mom picked up, sounding almost annoyed that I kept calling. But her annoyance was short-lived after I told her someone was in the house. She asked me why I was calling her and not the police, and she told me to hang up and call 911. As I did, Zook said, "Yo, look," and pointed at one of the upstairs rooms. This time it was my room. At the window was a person, once again no distinguishable features because of the sun glare. Only a second after I looked, they walked away from the window again. This entirely confirmed the nightmarish situation that was going on. I called 911, the first and only time in my life that I'd had to do that.
Make sure you don't get out of the house.
I told them about the intruder. It felt like a pretty standard 911 call from what you'd expect. She told me to wait outside where we were with my friends, and that a car was being sent to the given address. It was a relatively fast response time. I guess that's Westchester for you. When there was a bang at the backyard gate, the person banging announced himself as a police officer, and he came out back. I told him to go inside because the intruder is upstairs.
He gonna be gone, bro. You should have surrounded the house or something.
He hurried inside with his partner, and minutes later, they came back outside with a man handcuffed. Not just a normal-looking man. This man looked disheveled and high. He was half naked. He looked wobbly. Most importantly, he looked unstable and dangerous. He was slurring profanities at the cops. I called my mom again to tell her, and then put her on the phone with one of the cops. She handled, I guess, figuring out what happened next.
And then the mom pissed me off in this situation, talking about she sounded like she was annoyed and whatnot. You feel me? That's why you always answer the dang phone. You know what I'm saying? Y'all folks be taking life for granted, boy. I always answer my phone. And like I said, for me, I'm a do not disturb fanatic. But what I do have, I have only certain people can get in touch with me. You know what I'm saying? Only certain people can get in touch with me. You feel me? So I know if my mom called, my dad, you know what I mean, my partner, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. You know what I mean? Those are the only ones that can get through to me. You feel me? So I know if they call, I'm calling, you know what I'm saying, my sister, my brother. You know what I mean? So for me, I've always been the type of person to pick up the phone. You feel me? I mean, for some. Sometimes you can't pick up the phone. I mean, if this motherfucker called multiple times over and over and over again, then I know to pick up the phone. But that motherfucker called one time, I know the motherfucker trying to beg for something. You know what I mean? Some people you just know now. I'm not going to say no names. But some motherfuckers you know, like, okay, don't pick up the phone for this motherfucker. If you call again, if you call multiple times, then the motherfucker need help. But that motherfucker called one time, he trying to ask for some money. He trying to ask for something. You know what I'm saying? You know? So you gotta have some boundaries when it comes to some motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? But a person that you know they ain't asking for nothing, that rarely called and everything, and she called or he called, pick up the dang phone, man.
I went inside to check what.
I don't want to be that type of person, you know what I'm saying? But dang, every time I talk to you, bro, the conversation in with you asking for something, who the freak want to pick up your phone call? Oh, here this motherfucker go again. Here go this motherfucker. Whole time you could be dying. You could really need help, but motherfucker, you ask for so much things, you're finna add me for $50 again. Whole time you're dying, this motherfucker just think you trying to ask for $50. Here you go, ask for $50 again. Ignoring your phone calls on purpose. Just don't be that type of person where every time you call somebody, bro, you need something or you want something. Don't be a burden, bro. Because people gonna stop answering that phone call real quick. Just keeping it real with you, bro. It's cool. Okay, you need help one time? Boom. All right. Need help 2 times? All right. Need help like 3, 4, 5. Now it coming to pattern? Now it's like, okay, you ain't finna get up and try to go get it. You just finna use me as a bank or something. You feel me? And then when I don't want to give you my money, you got a problem with it. You don't get your entitled butt to freak out. Get your little sorry and your entitled butt to freak out my dang phone.
stolen, and it was mostly just
For me to pick up, you better call 5 or 6 times.
drawers in every bedroom that had been rummaged through. But nothing outwardly appeared to have been stolen. As far as how that man got inside, I think it simply came down to an unlocked door, nothing crazy. Still, to experience a stranger breaking into your house is something you think you only hear about in stories and on the news, but not actually in real life. And it was downright horrific.
I said, not actually in real life. Boy, you better get into in real life, boy. What you talking about? You a little kid, so I understand, but even when I was little, boy, I knew real.
This happened last summer when my older brother Ben asked me to stay at his house for the weekend while he and his fiance went away. They had planned a short trip together months in advance. All he needed was someone to watch his chocolate lab Bear. I had watched Bear plenty of times before, so I agreed without thinking much about it. Ben lived about 25 minutes outside town in a quiet rural area. There were neighbors, but every house sat on a few acres, and his backyard was surrounded by woods on 3 sides. They were not huge forests, just stretches of woods broken up by trails that people used for walking and biking. Bear loved those trails, so Ben told me to take him out a couple times a day like he normally did. I got there Friday afternoon after they left and settled in. Nothing happened that day. Bear was his usual friendly self, and we went on an evening walk before I watched TV and went to bed. Saturday started the same way. I let Bear out early, fed him, made breakfast, and took him on one of the trails around mid-morning. It was warm out, but not unbearable, and there were enough trees to keep the trail shaded. We walked for probably 20 minutes before Bear suddenly stopped. His ears stood straight up, and he stared into the trees off to our left. At first, I just stood there waiting for him to move. I thought he heard a squirrel or a deer. There was plenty of wildlife around there. I gave the leash a little tug, but he barely reacted. He just kept listening. After maybe 30 seconds, he started walking again, but every few steps, he turned around to look behind us. I remember laughing to myself and saying he was acting paranoid.
Saying the dog acting paranoid, that's the funniest thing. You ain't paranoid enough. That's the only reason I am going to get a dog. I'm going to get a dog for this specific reason. Now, I know I say a lot of things about dogs. I'm going to get a dog. But it's not going to be the dog that you probably think of. It's not going to be one of them cute little fuzzy dogs. No, it's going to be a Cane Corso, Pit Bull, Rottweiler, German Shepherd. It's going to be dogs that protect and serve. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of dog I'm getting. Probably get like 3. You know what I'm saying? We'll get like 3. You know what I mean? With a lot of artillery, a lot of guns and all that. I'm not going to be afraid at all. You know what I mean? Honestly. Like I said, my second purchase, I'm finna make a purchase again. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about getting the FN. You know what I mean? But I always got to stay with the starting gun with the 40. Shorty with the 40, he ready in his glory. He trying to get the body and tell his homies a story. You know what I'm saying? So definitely gonna keep the 40 piece on me. You know what I mean? But the FN, I need the FN for sure, yo. You know what I mean? After that, I got to get an AR. I need to get some ARs to get some shotguns up in here. You know what I mean? Y'all think I'm playing? I feel so like, even though I box and whatnot, I train, but golly, I mean, I can't fight bullets. You feel me? I feel 10 times more safer. I already feel safe because I'm a trained fighter. But I feel 10 times more safer when I got that thing on me.
The farther
that thing gonna make something giant.
The more he kept looking back. At one point, he even stopped again and faced the direction we had just come from. I looked back too and saw absolutely nothing. The trail behind us was empty. No people or bikes. Nothing moving between the trees. I nudged him forward again, and eventually we finished the loop and headed back to the house. Once we were home, he acted completely normal again. The rest of the afternoon was uneventful. I watched TV, threw a tennis ball around the backyard with Bear, and later that evening, I started watching Game of Thrones in Ben's living room. Bear was stretched out on the couch next to me asleep. It was already dark outside by then, probably around 9:30, and that's when someone knocked on the front door. It immediately caught my attention because it felt strange hearing someone knock that late in such a quiet area. I muted the TV and walked over. I didn't open the door. I just stood there and asked who it was. A man answered from the other side, asking if Tom was home. Hearing my own first name caught me off guard. I asked, Tom who? The man gave a completely different last name that wasn't mine. I told him he had the wrong house and that nobody by that name lived here. There was a pause before he calmly replied that he didn't think he had the wrong house. That answer made me uncomfortable. I told him again that he did and that I'd appreciate it if he left. I stood there another 20 or 30 seconds waiting for another response, but nothing came. Eventually, I walked over to the window beside the living room and carefully looked through the blinds. I couldn't see anyone on the porch. I waited another minute before checking the front yard from a different window, but I still didn't see anyone. I figured whoever it was had finally left. I locked the deadbolts, even though I was pretty sure it had already been locked, and went back to watching TV. Bear had lifted his head during the knocking, but laid back down once everything got quiet again. Around 11 that night, Bear started whining by the back door. He had been asleep for a while, so I figured he needed to go out one last time before bed. I clipped his leash on, opened the sliding door, and stepped out onto the back deck with him. The backyard had a few lights mounted on the house that lit up the back deck and some of the grass, but beyond that, it was almost completely dark. The tree line started maybe 50 yards from the house, and once your eyes reached the woods, you couldn't really see anything beyond the first few trees. Bear walked down the deck steps into the yard like normal, but before he got very far, he froze. His ears went up exactly like they had that morning on the trail. This time he wasn't just listening, he started growling. It was low at first, then louder. I looked toward the woods, trying to see what had his attention. For a second, I saw nothing. Then I caught movement. A person ran across the edge of the tree line and disappeared into the woods. It happened fast, but there was no mistaking it. It wasn't an animal. It was someone running. Before I even had time to react, Bear exploded forward. The leash slipped right through my hand. He sprinted across the yard toward the woods, barking as loud as I had ever heard him bark. I immediately took off after him, yelling his name over and over. By the time I reached the tree line, he was already gone into the woods. I didn't even think about grabbing a flashlight. I just ran in after him because I wasn't about to lose my brother's dog. Within seconds, I couldn't see Bear anymore. I could still hear him barking somewhere ahead, but the trees blocked everything. It was much darker under the canopy than I expected. I slowed down because I could barely see where I was going.
Motherfucker ain't
I
trained?
kept yelling Bear's name, hoping he'd come back.
Well, he definitely ain't trained. You gotta train that motherfucker, man. But Bear, he on go, but being on go, that's a very dangerous mindset to have. You know what I mean? Bear's a crash out. You feel me? He just running into the danger. You can't run into the danger. You gotta be real cool, calm, and calculated. You know what I'm saying? Can't just rah, rah, rah. No, my dog's not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? My dog's gonna be trained. So yeah, Bear on go for Sholioli. But you're very untrained. You know what I mean?
But all I heard were his barks further ahead.
He just freaking running. He ignoring what Bear. Motherfucker on go, the motherfucker just thinking attack. He ain't thinking listen.
Footsteps. At first I thought they were Bear, but they sounded different. They were heavier and seemed to come from off to one side instead of straight ahead.
Oh, he knew that you had a dog. So he sent him to bait Bear. Oh, Bear probably gonna die. So that was a bait to get Bear away from you and for him to come to, oh man.
I stopped moving.
He's some real.
The footsteps stopped too. I listened for several seconds. Bear barked again somewhere deeper in the woods. Then I heard another set of footsteps behind me. I turned around but couldn't see anything. It was too dark. I couldn't tell if there was one person moving around me or more than one. Every few seconds, I'd hear another step somewhere different. It honestly felt like someone was circling through the trees, staying just out of sight. I suddenly realized how exposed I was. I didn't know the trails well enough in the dark. I had no flashlight, and I had no idea who had just been standing outside my brother's backyard. My heart started racing. I yelled Bear's name one more time as loud as I could, but instead of running further into the woods, I turned around and sprinted back toward the house. Branches were hitting my arms and face as I pushed through the trees. I didn't stop until I reached the backyard where the deck lights were shining. I stood near the deck, breathing hard, staring back into the darkness while yelling Bear's name over and over. For almost a full minute, nothing happened. Then I heard him barking again, much closer this time. A few seconds later, Bear came bursting out of the woods at full speed. He ran straight toward me and up onto the deck, but instead of coming to the door, he stopped at the top step and turned back toward the woods. He stood there completely still, staring into the darkness with his ears up. I grabbed his collar as hard as I could and practically dragged him through the sliding door before slamming it shut and locking it. We stayed inside the rest of the night. I checked every window and made sure every door was locked. I considered calling the police, but all I could really tell them was that I saw someone run into the woods. I had no description and no proof they were still around. Bear never fully relaxed. Several times while I sat in the living room, he suddenly lifted his head and stared toward different walls of the house as if he was hearing something outside. Every time he did it, I'd stop and listen too, but I never heard anything. I stayed awake until 4 in the morning before exhaustion finally caught up with me. The next morning, I went outside after the sun came up and walked to the backyard and edge of the woods looking for anything unusual. I was hoping to find footprints, dropped items, or anything that explained what happened. I found absolutely nothing. Later that afternoon, Ben and his fiancée came home. I immediately told him everything that happened, from Bear acting strange on the trail to the knock on the door and the person running into the woods. What surprised me most was Ben's reaction. He got quiet for a second, before telling me something similar had happened to him about a year ago. Bear had acted almost the exact same way in the backyard one night, and Ben had also caught a glimpse of someone disappearing into the woods. He looked around afterward and never found out who it was. Nothing else ever happened after that, so eventually, he stopped thinking about it.
I'm saying I'm just that type of person. Like when one thing happens to me, I just cannot like forget about that one thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, you know, people just want to be comfortable. People don't like getting uncomfortable, but I'm cool with being uncomfortable. I've mastered being uncomfortable and I mastered being comfortable in uncomfortable situations. You know what I'm saying? So if that was to happen to me, because I'm a very private person, so that was to happen to me, that right there invades my privacy. I no longer feel safe anymore. I'm a very paranoid person as it is. You're in my backyard, and then it happened again.
That made the
I'm a one-hitter quitter.
Thing even harder to explain.
I gotta move. I gotta go.
I packed my things and headed home.
Either I gotta move or I gotta go. Or I gotta kill you.
I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that someone had apparently been watching the house on more than one occasion. Ben and his fiancée still live there today, and thankfully they haven't had another incident since then. Even so, every time I visit and let Bear into that backyard after dark, I find myself staring at those woods a little longer than I used to.
Dave Larkin.
My name is Dave, and I'm 35 years old. I grew up with a pretty small family. I have 2 brothers, and that's it. We don't have any cousins or anything. These days, the norm, at least in the US, is to have kids in your late 20s or early 30s. My brothers and I all had kids really young. I guess because we wanted to grow our family. My brothers' names are Pete and Jim. We live in Jasper, Georgia. Our kids are all around the ages of 3 to 10. Each of us have 2 kids. This story happened very recently, actually, in May of 2026. We like to have a lot of barbecues at my house. For Memorial Day, I invited Pete and Jim and their families.
Happened in 2026?
Along with our parents. My wife Nancy and I started setting up early. Our backyard is the best for hosting out of all of us because we have a pool and a big entertaining area, along with a big open grass area for the kids to play. Our neighborhood is pretty quiet and spacious, so instead of our neighbors' yards being right next to ours, we have woods in the backyard. In all honesty, we have the cliche home setup for a horror movie. Everyone came over around 1 p.m. Things went how a typical backyard Memorial Day gathering would go for us. We drank beers throughout the day, ate barbecue, and
that right there used to be fun right there. That freaking game right there, bro. Oh my God. That game right there requires some real deal concentration. Concentration and accuracy.
The kids played various games in the pool and field.
And I told you, I ain't going inside a pool, man. The only way I'm going to go inside a pool, bro, is if I have my own. I'm not going to no public pool ever again. Just think about the disgusting things that go on in that pool, the piss, the spit that it goes in your mouth. Like, think about it, all the piss. You think you're the only one pissing in that pool? I used to piss in the pool all the time. Me? I don't feel like getting out. I'm having too much fun right now. Pissing all in that dang pool. So I know if I was pissing in the pool, I know everybody else pissing in this dang pool too. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Gotta look your dang self in the mirror. Even I was pissing in the pool. I ain't exempt. So if I pissed in the pool, how many of these mother effers pissing in the dang pool? Pool full of piss. Heck no. I'd rather have a private pool so I could be the only one pissing. So at least if it go in my mouth, at least it's my piss. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to piss, his piss, her piss, piss at the piss, at the piss, at the piss, until my pissing, since been pissing, since been pissing, since been pissing.
And the hours flew by like this. Nightfall came, and we eventually had ice cream and dessert. And during this time, we heard the most blood-curdling scream from out in the woods. Everyone stiffened up and went silent.
Somebody's dying. You know what I mean? But guess what? They ain't got nothing to do with me. Dangerous, man. You know what I mean? They ain't got nothing to do with me. I told you, I'm not no Captain Savior. Somebody freaking screaming. Of course we're going to be on alert. Somebody just freaking a blood-curdling scream. Somebody go get the Glock. Go get the Glock right now. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get the Glocks. But I'm not finna go. We need to go in those woods, man. Somebody needs our help, man. We're going to stay right the freak here. Whatever's happening to that woman, sound like a woman, it's going to happen. People die every day. If you're trying to be a superhero, you're going to die too. Oh, my God. We got the 40s. We got the ARs on deck. You know what I'm saying? 30 days and 30 nights. So, yeah, okay, that's screaming over there. But, okay, you going to make her scream. But I promise you, you ain't going to make us scream, no. Word to Beezy. Better not bring that ish over here. You feel me? But we going to definitely stiffen up and we going inside the crib out. For sure, y'all.
From out in the woods. Everyone stiffened up and went silent. And only after maybe 10 seconds did we finally speak up. The first question was asked by Jim, and he asked if that was a fox.
Cuz it a fox.
No way. I hear fox screams somewhat often here, and I know the sound. This sounded very human. We kept the music off now, and there was definitely a tense feeling in the air now. The kids were visibly shaken, but it could have just been some local teenagers messing around on Memorial Day.
It could have been it probably was. Well, it was probably. You know what I'm saying? That is a dangerous mindset to have, ladies and gentlemen. It could have been, well, it probably was it.
We heard the same.
You know what the freak you heard?
Scream a second time. We told the kids to go inside. In fact, everyone except my brothers and I went inside. The three of us went to the edge of the woods and waited there for a few minutes, waiting for another scream that never came. Eventually, I screamed out into the woods asking if someone needs help. This didn't lead to any kind of response.
Freak, did you do
Needless
that?
to say, this really put a damper on the rest of our celebration outside. So we started bringing stuff inside and spent the rest of the night inside. The topic of conversation was the screams for a little while, but eventually we moved past it and dismissed it as some teenage Memorial Day shenanigans. Eventually, the night was coming to a close and everyone started heading out. Our parents left first, then my brothers and their families. I'd call it 10 p.m. when they were all gone. We cleaned up a bit more, eventually said we'll do the rest tomorrow, and started getting ready for bed. The kids were already asleep by this point. Nancy and I were exhausted and climbed into bed. And then, a sound that you never expect nor want to hear at this hour of the night. The doorbell. The doorbell rang and made Nancy and I instantly shoot to an upright position and look at
my mother. You know what I'm saying? Bro, ain't nobody answering the door late night. Bro, ain't nobody ringing doorbells late night. That junk is rare. Somebody ring a doorbell your late night, bro, just know, bro, up the ill intentions. The freak you need to be ringing my doorbell late night for. The freak. Deliveries ain't coming out this night. I ain't never seen a delivery come out at the hours. You know what I'm saying? At the daylight, I ain't never seen a delivery or whatever. Deliveries come out in the daytime. That's for always been like that. Who the freak? What the freak you ringing my doorbell for? You know what I'm saying? Straight up, you got the wrong house, partner. Shoot you through the door? No, I ain't finna answer nothing. You feel me? If you somebody I know, call me. Straight up, you gonna be outside that door. I ain't finna answer who is it. So I already know if it's the partner. I already know if it's my mom, my sister, they gonna call me. They always do. You know what I'm saying? They gonna call me. You feel me? Straight up. But you know what I'm saying? If it's mom, sister, brother, you know, they gonna call me. They got my number.
The doorbell rang and made Nancy and I instantly shoot to an upright position and look at each other. Who do you think that is? She asked me. To which I said, maybe one of my brothers forgot something. I got out of bed and went downstairs to the front door. Without opening the door, I said, "Who is it?" And a man on the other side said, "Hey, can you open up? It's important." I was not opening that front door to an unidentified stranger at that hour. So I responded, "Can you identify yourself?" He then said, "It's your neighbor down the road." I responded, "Which one? What's your name?" He responded, "Jack." I didn't know any Jacks. I asked him for his exact address. I would know if it was a real address or not. But after I asked this, there was dead silence. I repeated my question, but instead of him answering, I heard footsteps walking off the front deck. My question scared them away. Who was that person? Surely it wasn't actually a neighbor. They were trying to get me to open the door. This prompted me to check to make sure every door and window was locked. When I told Nancy about the weird encounter, she started to freak out and went to check on the kids. I eventually was able to calm her down, but I agreed with her that it was a very scary encounter. We went to sleep eventually out of sheer exhaustion. The nightmare didn't truly begin until about an hour or two later when I awoke to Nancy shaking me. She told me she heard what sounded like the garage door closing. Our garage doors manually opened and closed. I never bothered fixing the mechanisms for the automatic open-close feature.
I was like, what?
But if what she heard was true, that meant we didn't lock the garage door. My heart started racing right away. I have a .22 pistol in my bedside drawer that I keep for potential home defense situations. I grabbed it and told Nancy to wait there. She told me not to go, but I had to.
You talking about not to go?
I quietly...
That's what we do, bro. That's why it's very important for a man to be in the household. That's what we do. I don't go. What you mean don't go? If I die, it's gonna be a very... Said don't go. I'm worried about y'all. That man ain't worried about him. I'm worried about my children, bro. I'm worried about my wife. I'm going front line, bro, every time. Every time, gang. I don't go. I'm a protector of this house. What you mean don't go? I don't go. Who the freak gonna go? You know what I'm saying? But some bullets gonna get rained out if I go. If I go, it's gonna be a tough one, I'm telling you. Some bullets gonna get rained out. I'm gonna let some bullets fly.
Went down the stairs. Each step, the fear of the situation setting in even more. When I got to the bottom, the door that leads into the garage from inside the house was just down the hall to the right. I tiptoed over, and I saw that this door was locked. So, if what Nancy heard wasn't just a dream or imagination, that meant someone was still inside there. I put my ear up to the door for a second and listened. I couldn't hear anything. I unlocked the door as quietly as possible, and it took me a minute to gather the courage to grab the doorknob. When I finally did, I yanked the door open and aimed the gun up in front of me. I looked inside the garage. I didn't turn the light on yet, but there was a small red light on the work desk coming from a tool
truck. Who that is right now?
It lit up this little corner of the garage where I saw the outline of a person. I knew it had to be.
He gotta die.
I saw in the darkness the figure swaying a little back and forth in this weird way. The sight made me want to throw up. I announced that I had a gun, and I locked my aim on the swaying black mass in the corner. My heart nearly dropped out.
Man, you don't shoot that dang gun, bro. I'm not even finna ask questions, bro. You on my property, bro. I ain't finna ask questions. I'm finna shoot you right in your ish, bro. See, that's what I'm saying, bro. People got guns. He ain't really trying to use it for real. He got that gun just in case. I got that gun like to kill, gang. I don't have my gun just in case. I got it in case, but I got my gun, bro. Bro. He better than me, cuz. I would have shot that junk right in your writing. I would have blazed it right there. I'm not asking no questions, bro. When you in my crib, bro, I'm not asking no questions. I get to this mindset. Okay, it's either you or me. This motherfucker trying to kill me, and then I just heard a motherfucker knock on my door, ring my doorbell yesterday, and then I heard the scream, all that going through my mind. You the motherfucker that had somebody screaming in the woods. You the motherfucker that knocked on my door. I'm not finna talk with you, bro. I don't play with people, bro. I don't play with you, gang. You feel me? Think, bro. Shoot now. I don't ask questions later. You feel me? I'm aiming to kill too. I'm not finna play with you, boy. I'm not finna play with you. And my kids in, and my wife in here. You think I'm finna play with you, bro? I'm not finna play with you, gang. I'm telling you, I ain't like bro right here. I ain't got my gun just to play around. I got my gun to use, bro. I got this motherfucker right here to use. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And one of the motherfuckers that you be talking, gang. Do you in, gang?
When the black mass fully moved towards the garage door, and the door then lifted up just enough for them to run out and escape before the door fell back down.
You talking about run out and escape, man, bro? You ain't escaping nothing, bro.
Then did I turn on the garage light and run to lock the garage door.
See, now you can't kill him now because he running away, and if you running away by law, it's murder. So you running away now. You feel me? So if you shoot him in the back and he running away, it's murder. It ain't self-defense.
The whole thing was over in less than a minute. I couldn't even process it fully yet. I ran to the sheriff's office and reported a break-in. Upon their arrival, I told them of the screams in the woods, the man at the front door.
Bro, it don't matter, bro. He gone, bro. Know what I'm saying? You should know that, bro. Calling the police ain't gonna matter, bro. The man is gone, bro.
And the person in the garage. all while Nancy listened in. This call was less about expecting them to immediately catch this person or people, and more about getting this whole incident documented so they could be aware of it. On the spot, there wasn't much more they could do other than make us feel safer in the moment. They searched the inside and outside of the house and then advised us to keep everything locked.
Waste of time.
After that, sleeping was pretty difficult for a while. It's been a little over a month, so this is still kind of fresh, and the fear of them coming back is still present. I do think
This just happened 2 months ago.
the man at the door was the man in the garage. However, I don't know if the screams were linked to this as well. If they were, that just makes whatever this was even worse.
I'll be aware. Be aware because we have dangerous people walking amongst us. Do not be like this man. You have to have a little wolf in you, okay, to survive in this world. You just can't be straight sheep. If you're straight sheep, you're going to die. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have a little wolf in you, bro. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Jay. Like I said, your boy Jay will be live on 007 First Light right now. So make sure y'all tune into your boy. Link is in the description down below. Twitch link in the description down below. And I dropped part 1 through part 12 on the gaming channel. So y'all make sure y'all go subscribe there. It's your boy Jay, man. Take it easy. Before you end up like Beezy, man. Boy Jay out, man. Okay.